that got some controversy, ladies and gentlemen. So, I you know, it was funny. We're back. Yeah, we're back, pal. Rob is asking, we're back. Yeah, we're back, pal. Um, so yes, I was asking this question, and the hardcore Rob, you got the hardcore championship right. The hardcore championship is correct. He won. Christopher Nowinski won the hardcore championship. Um, but a lot of people have won the hardcore championship in their days in WWE. So that was fun. But yeah, all in. You back, Joseph. I see that as well. All right. So yeah, as far as all in is concerned, I think it was good overall. I think the match qualities overall was really good. Kenny Omega versus Penta was probably my favorite match. Kazuchika Okada versus Marty Scurll was up there, probably like kind of like 1A and 1B, because those two matches were so good. Yeah, I mean both matches really just tore the house down, and I I'll say this, and I agree with this, and I definitely think that Cody versus Aldis should have closed the show. So, I'm sticking with that. I a big advocate of that decision. I think they should have done that. I think they should have closed the show with that match. Now, here's the thing: I didn't share this on the All In podcast with Wrestling Inc. The reason why they didn't do it, which I can understand in a way, is that Cody Rhodes still was doing a lot of production, and I think that I think that the reason why they didn't close it was, one, to please the type of crowd that they were looking at, and secondly, to be able to for Cody to go back to to the control room and run the show. So, because there was like a tweet that Hot Topics had that showed Cody backstage after winning the NWA World Championship, and basically he had his headset on and he was ready to go. So he was at he was in the control center, kind of the gorilla position, and yeah, he was on it. He was ready to go. So, my fingers are still jittery from changing the station so much from the last hour of SmackDown Live. So GHP, you didn't think it was very good? Jose's asking, what day is the Jericho cruise? Jericho's cruise is from October the 27th to October the 31st. So, yeah. So that, and speaking of Jericho, 6 out of 10. Okay, we'll talk about the last hour. I loved the main event. We'll talk about that here. I got a soft spot for R-Truth, man. I've talked to him on the phone more than once, and he's just a nice guy, man. So I'll text him every now and then, and he's just a nice guy. So I think he's underrated. I think he's undervalued. I think it's happy. I'm happy to say, it's happy to say that he was the two-time NWA champion. And speaking of that, I got to give major kudos. Jose's asking, ask Chris, who's your favorite wrestler in ECW? Okay, I'm about to answer that here in a moment. That's a good question. Zed is asking, ask Chris, what's up? I like it. I love it. Yeah, so Nick Aldis, man, I've had him on my show twice, and he's asked some really cool stuff. I mean, he's really put some awesome input both times, and I really think, man, him and got to give credit to Tim Storm as well, and Dave Lagana. Dave Lagana's been on the show before too. Just really resurrecting NWA, and I think Jax Dane and Tim Storm, They both have really long NWA Championship reigns. They both were over 400 days, both over a year. But Tim Storm, he was instrumental in being he was a part of a lot of the 10 pounds of gold series when NWA was really starting to resurrect, when it was the Dave Lagana regime, the Billy or William Patrick Corgan, I think he wants to be called now, regime. So when it was under that regime, the new regime, they really want to it just really goes to show how creative Billy Corgan is. Just because just the input that he had when he was with TNA, of course now Impact Wrestling, very creative stuff. Oh goodness, what was Rosemary, Abyss, and Crazy Steve's Decay? That's what their name was. He was very instrumental in Decay, which was a very eccentric stable. It was very it meshed very well. And so some input on the Matt Hardy segments and things like that. Billy Corgan is a very creative guy, man. And I think his influence in NWA, now being the head of NWA, and also Nick Aldis being the chosen person to really win the NWA Championship and take it by storm, take it from storm as well. But Aldis, he looks like $1 million, man. And yeah, so I think it's been great. And I think Cody Rhodes is a great person to win the NWA Championship. Of course he is, because his daddy, Dusty Rhodes, baby, he was the champion, and because of my son, the fruit of my loins, if you will, Cody, because Cody won the championship, baby, we are now the only father-son duo to win the NWA World Championship, baby. Nobody can say that other than the Dream and the Nightmare Daddy. NWA World Championship, if you will, the World's Heavyweight Championship, if you will. Me and my son Cody. Yeah, so him and Cody, the only two people who's ever won, father-son duo, ever won the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship. So kudos to that, man. It was really good. It was awesome. It's been a while since I've watched Pancakes and Powerslams, Jerry says. Man, it's great to have you back. Very much. There was an Ask Chris question up here. Okay, so favorite wrestler ECW. Now bring in my boy Evan Tech Proud. My favorite wrestler in ECW was Taz. Yes, Taz. Taz was my favorite wrestler in ECW, I believe. Taz, I would say Taz and Tommy Dreamer. Taz number 1, Dreamer number 2, number 3. Well, ECW period though, because I was a big Jericho fan too, and I liked Scorpio. I liked Too Cold Scorpio when he was in ECW too. Because Jericho's in my top 5 of all time. That's mostly because of his WWE stuff. So if we're going ECW alone, just strictly ECW, I would say Taz number 1, Dreamer number 2, Taz number 2, I'm sorry, Taz number 1, Dreamer number 2, Jerry Lynn number 3. That would probably be I would say probably Jericho and Too Cold Scorpio, perhaps. I like Bam Bam when he was in ECW too. Yeah. There's a lot of good names in ECW, actually. The franchise. All right. So, of course, hashtag Ask Chris. Yes, Lionheart, Chris Jericho was that true power strength. Yeah, I mean, that's when I started liking Jericho. That was around 97. No, actually, 97 was in WCW. 95 was around ECW time. That's I think that's the first year I started liking Chris Jericho. Well, I believe it was 95. So I've been a Jericho fan for 23 years. No, Jose, New Jack is not my favorite. I just said my favorite. Hashtag Ask Chris. So Jerry, hashtag Ask Chris. I look at those questions first, but I'll answer this one here since you're being introduced to the Ask Chris hashtag for the chat. What are your thoughts on Drake Maverick being the new AOP manager? I don't like it. I don't like it because he's the 205 general manager. Now if he stops being general manager of 205 Live and he ditches the AOP gear because he looks ridiculous with the AOP gear, yeah, 95 trying to find ECW on cable access at 3 a.m. Actually, I think it came on like Sports Time Ohio or something like that at like 2 in the morning on Saturday. Like Saturday going into Sunday morning at 2 in the morning. GHP's asking X Chris, what are your thoughts on so many wrestler chests being caved in? Very serious deal. Yeah, it's a condition. I forgot what it's called, but I know that Jericho has it, Kofi has it, Scott Steiner has it. Yeah, so it's one of those things, man. A lot of wrestlers have it. Yeah, Zed. Yeah, Jericho, Kofi, and Scott Steiner are three people offhanded I can think of having have cave chests. I forgot what the condition is actually. Rob is asking X Chris, do you think Rey Mysterio goes to Raw, SmackDown, Psy, or 205? Now I think he goes to SmackDown. So yeah, I think he becomes. I don't think WWE will make him like a top star on SmackDown, unfortunately, but I think he'll do well on SmackDown. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Jose's asking to access wrestling trivia questions. Yes, okay, so I'll ask the second question. Here we go. What was the Bushwhackers' name in WCW? What was the Bushwhackers' name in WCW? Speaking of Bushwhackers, I've also had a cousin Luke, Bushwhacker Luke, on my show. He's pretty cool. Gruss, great job, man. Great job, Gruss. Sheep herders, the sheep herders, ladies and gentlemen. Michael's asking, will Strowman win the championship at Hell in a Cell? No, I don't think so. Rob, Kiwis was before the sheep herders. They were the Kiwis, though. That answer is correct as well. Technically, they were the sheep herders in the NWA, but they were the Kiwis before WCW, though, or NWA, WCW. You know, tomato. Lash Leroux, yes, I remember Lash Leroux, and actually, you know what's so funny about Lash Leroux, and we're gonna bring Evan here in just a moment. What was so cool about Lash Leroux was that there's I guess there's so many people who feel that Lash Leroux, I mean they have their particular wrestler that some people have no clue why they like him, but they like him. Lash Leroux was that guy to me. I really wanted to push Lash Leroux, and he would have the sideburns, and he would do the whole Leroux thing. I was a big Lash Leroux fan. Jerry's asking, only 3 more episodes till SmackDown 1000. Who do you think they can bring back for one night? I'll go into my Vince McMahon. I think they're gonna bring back The Rock. There you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, my man Evan Tech Proud on the show. How are you tonight, sir?
You gotta know that the son of a plumber, if you will.
That's right, baby.
Champion.
Son of the sun. That's right, baby.
The name of the deformity with the chest caved in is called pectus excavatum.
Okay, cool. I appreciate that. Pectus excavatum.
I'm doing all right. It was hot. as a HE hockey stick. 80. They gonna say here in Baltimore. I've been on air literally after your show will be 6 straight hours of being on air, literally off the air of my show, jumping on to yours, no problem. I gotta ask Chris, hashtag, your thoughts, and I know we talked about this off air, of Joey Ryan's entrance. People that's not even fans, and people that's not even fans of wrestling mentioned it. A buddy of mine said, "How do you explain this to someone that doesn't watch wrestling but watches this for the first time?"
Yes. Gus, I'm going to answer that question here real quick after I answer the Joey Ryan question from Evan. I think that okay. So here's my thoughts on it. I think that it's great to those who know who Joey Ryan is, and in the penis plex. Penis is a form of an anatomy. So the penis plex, which I've said this before. I said this on the Wrestling Inc. All In podcast. I just never, Joey Ryan, his deal just never stuck with me. I never connected to that. I think it's silly. I did say that he's turning lemons into lemonade. He's making the best of being an indie. He's an indie guy, and he's, as far as I know, he's living pretty good. Pretty handsomely as far as his financials, as far as him, becoming very successful outside of WWE. GSP said, when it comes to that, I'm all out. I agree, man. It's one of those things that if it's non-televised, if it's an indie thing, have at it. There's a 200 people that that attends an indie show or less typically, that sees that enjoys that. That doesn't connect with me because I think it's silly. But it's got him famous. But it's one of those things that I think about, like a possible All In too. I think about NWA perhaps getting a TV deal. You know what I mean? And I think of it from a business standpoint. WGN, the 0 hour, all in 0 hour, the over budget battle royal, that was on at WGN. That's a major network that reaches thousands of homes. And I think that this was really good. All In was really good as a way of saying, hey, listen, WGN, we really want to get this. We really want to make this a deal. NWA to WGN would be absolutely amazing. I think that would be awesome. Just for NWA to have a TV deal. I think NWA should have a TV deal, and I think that All In should be the yearly WrestleMania type thing for NWA. Because that's how the NWA was, anyways. I mean, Flair would hop from Crockett to World Class to Mid Atlantic. Yeah, so he would hop from promotion to promotion. Portland, he would hop from, if it's an NWA territory, he would hop from city to city, from promotion to promotion, and that's how it was. And I think that you should still do it. So I think that would be a good way of bringing back the NWA and having a TV deal and working like they did, at All In. I mean, it was NWA, it was New Japan. NWA and New Japan's worked together before. I had Rob Conway on the show. He was a part of Wrestle Kingdom when he was, champion. So they've worked with New Japan before. They can still work with them. They work with them on All In. Impact was represented. Impact was represented at All In. They can still work with. Prayer for Wildboy's mom as having heart surgery. What's going on, Lexi, as well? a couple of these questions I want to address too. But yeah, I mean, the CMLL was represented All In. So yeah, the PWG was represented All In from Excalibur. So there was like 6 or 7 promotions represented at All In, and I think that basically what the NWA was all about. So bring them together and have a TV deal. The Joey Ryan thing, I think that really hurts the potential to get a TV deal, though. Because if you think of sponsors, if you think of ad revenue, which is a really big part of making your money and being able to pay all the talent and all the venues, All In could have done it, sure, selling out 10,000 from social media basically, and popularity, Cody's popularity from WWE. But I think at the end of the day, if you do something like the Joey Ryan thing, that's just not a good look for a WGN or really any TV deal. If you want to get a TV deal, the Joey Ryan thing should have stayed at the Indies. So hopefully they'll learn from that. So we'll see. Rob's asking, what's your general opinion of Chucky T and Trent? We're talking about the best friends. I've not met them. I'm friends with Trent's former partner, Chris Bravone, aka Kalen Croft. I'm good buddies with him, and he's been on the show twice. I haven't met them. I will probably meet them next year when I go to New York for WrestleMania. They're a pretty cool tag team, but I prefer Trent Beretta with Rocky Murillo as Roppongi Vice, but Rocky Murillo is kind of like semi-retired now. So, but yeah, the best friends are cool as well. I've seen a bunch of their matches. What else we hear? Gress is asking, with the proper financial booking and television deal, could the NWA become the new WCW? Money wise, WCW had a lot of money with Turner. Bischoff had a lot of money when he was working for Turner, man. I don't know if NWA will have Turner money though. They need somebody. I would say they need somebody who's really backing them up. Perhaps like perhaps a Mark Cuban is who I was thinking of with Access TV. Yeah, because he's real big on New Japan. They aired New Japan on Access. So maybe if they work with like Mark Cuban is try to get a deal on Access, but Access doesn't reach as many people as of course, like any Turner network. So it'll be tough trying to be the new East WCW from a popularity and financial standpoint. It could be if they have a billionaire backing them up like Mark Cuban, but at the same time they would need a very widespread or widely viewed television deal. Access is a great channel, and I'm really happy that they cover New Japan, but the number of eyes on Access won't be competitive at all with WWE. So.
Not only that, they need a big name. Having, of course, you need the money to fund it.
Yeah.
But you got to think too to draw. There's nothing against Cody and the Young Bucks. To draw the masses to jump from E to watching your product. You got to think about who's the hottest free agent right now that can draw people in. WCW had Sting, you had Flair, you had Sims, you had Hogan,
right.
Hulk. Cruiserweights, Goldberg. Nowadays, and those kind of scarce is, okay, you get Mark Cuban supposedly to back you, which I know he's a New Japan fan, but then it's like all about names, and you got to have a name to draw you in, or some names that could pull you in and say, wait, he's with NWA, we got to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And now, that's tough.
Yeah. I agree.
That is tough.
Yep.
You can't just think of a name that's specifically wrestling. Like Cody Rhodes and Young Bucks are great, but you need a name that's pop culture.
Larger than life. Yep. Pop culture. Yep. I agree.
And right now, there's not really anybody available right now. Please don't mention a name that no people won't mention.
Yeah.
Who's really left right now that could carry that weight?
Yeah, I don't know.
Years ago, maybe, but now, WWE seem to have everybody.
Right. I agree. Good point. Lexi's asking, speaking of All In, there is a rumor that the WWE locker room was prohibited from attending in person. Have any of your contacts in the company confirmed this? Lexi, if you have Twitter, tweet me that at Chris Prolific. Remind me, and I'll reach out to my contacts to see if that's true. That's a really good question. Of course, Lexi always asks the some of the best questions on the Pancakes and Powerslam show. Jerry's asking, do you think Batista ever resigns with WWE? I think you mean. If so, then how? If Vince gives the reins to Triple H, I think he comes back. I think they'll bring him back for something, maybe like something WrestleMania related, maybe a run in or something like that. He wants to do a WrestleMania angle with Triple H. I just don't see Batista Triple H WrestleMania. I don't. I think Triple H is saving his WrestleMania spots for like either putting people over or being part of a huge angle. Because he'll be 50 next year. He'll be 49 come WrestleMania next year, but he turns 50 next year. So, he doesn't have many WrestleMania spots left. Aggressive asking, should the Raw roster divide into factions and war with each other like 97? It'll look interesting. It'll be interesting for a couple of weeks, and that's it. Peter, I think you said, have you ever seen a pro wrestling company ever advertise many pay-per-views as WWE with Hell in a Cell Evolution in that big event in Australia? WCW did. They were very big in advertising a bunch of pay-per-views as well. All right. Some great comments on here. All right, so let's get right into, let's just skim through these headlines here. So this is the flavor of the week, ladies and gentlemen. This is what we're going to do. This is part 2. You see that? Last week we had the first round. This week we have the second round, and we're going to reach the finals. I'm excited about what you guys. I'm excited about what you guys are going to vote for that. I bet $100 Sean retires Taker next year at Mania. I can see that happening. I'll be okay with that. There'll be 3 losses for Taker at WrestleMania. It'll just further bury the streak. But I can see that, though. Not at the same time, though. Yeah, WCW had a lot of pay-per-views altogether, though. I mean, but now you have to think, Peter, the WWE Network. They kind of have that, though. There's never been a network like that. So, go. What were you saying, Evan?
They had a lot of pay-per-views, but they all had different themes, and the sets were cool. And I was talking about this with a fan a couple of days ago. With a fan was like, "Oh, how come WWE don't do all the different sets?" And so the problem is we have HD, and there's so much money for production of just running the show.
Yep.
High definition television. Not only that, but now you have Ultra HD 4K, and it takes so much money as it is to produce a show with that set for everything for you to watch it at home. So that's why you don't really see WWE or really any company on that level have all those funny sets, the Halloween Havoc, Green Monster, and the Pumpkin, and the Backlash hooks. Back then it was standard dust, so they had more money to use with those sets. Now it costs so much money to have a set. That's why they don't do it. But WCW had a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, I agree. Lexi's asking other wrestling platforms. Oh, okay. Gruss asked before that. Should a Bobby Roode versus Triple H? Could a Bobby Roode versus Triple H feud work for WrestleMania 35? You really got to do a lot with Bobby Roode if that is even considered, because right now I'm okay with Bobby Roode as a face, because I think the glorious thing is a face thing. If you make him heel, you got to cut the glorious, because he'll just be cheered and wrestle good guys. So that's not a heel. Bobby Roode's a good heel, but I think you just have the gimmick to not make him get cheered. Make it easy for him to get cheered. A lot of work would have to be done for that. So Lexi's other wrestling platforms are reporting that there is a low buy rate for Evolution. If you were WWE creative, what dream match would you bill for guaranteed interest? Okay, so we'll actually merge that with the headline of the WWE struggling to sell tickets for Evolution. That was part of that was a headline we were going to talk about. So we'll merge this question with the headline for the sake of time. That was actually a perfect time to ask that question. As far as dream match, they're trying to do Trish and Bliss is a match that they're doing. It seems like they're doing like legend versus current star. So I don't think we'll have like a big dream. I think Sasha and Trish would have been the match, and Sasha, talked about she did want to go against Trish. That was her match that she wanted to go with. I think maybe you bring in Alundra Blaze, because right now Lita's going against Mickie James, and then that's not a dream match, because we've seen that. Yeah, I mean, you bring in maybe Alundra Blaze to go against like Nia Jax or something. Maybe that you can build that right. I think if Stephanie wrestled at Evolution, that would be cool. Maybe if she went against who do you bring in that's still around? Maybe a Stephanie McMahon versus Alundra Blaze or something like that. There's not really a dream match. There's not really a dream match that I can think of. What's that? Yeah, right. Bring Jazz. Victoria.
Like you said, Stephanie Russell, that would really help. But good buddies with Batista and Alundra Blaze. But when it comes to the female legends, the people that really would have helped put it over the hump, Taz Storm, Lita Vachon.
Yeah.
So, I got one for you. No one's talked about. You talk about Women Evolution, and they have yet to mention her in the Hall of Fame, and some of our colleagues this interview that did work. Wendy Richter.
Wendy Richter.
Why not?
Yeah.
Bring her in.
Yeah, I think that'd be good.
It can add at least some kind of sizzle to the pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, not in the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
WWE doesn't really mention her much, and I feel like that will be a good way to have her go against Medusa, or have her go against Victoria, or have her go against.
But the thing is, it seems like they're not even doing the legend versus legend thing, and so that would be made. I would be cool with like an Alundra Blaze versus Asuka type thing. I think that'll be okay. Yeah. Yeah, that would be my pick. Alundra Blaze versus Asuka. I'd be fine with that. That would be pretty exciting to see. They better not. They better. Alundra Blaze wouldn't even. She would put Asuka over. Even if WWE said we want you to beat Asuka, she'll be like, "You idiots! I'm putting this girl over." Jerry's asking, my dream main event for WrestleMania next year is the Shield battling out for the Universal title. Thoughts? I don't think that's a main event for Mania. I think that's a really good, maybe a SummerSlam match or a Survivor Series match. But Mania is all about the lights. It's about the spectacle. So,
yep. If I can add this very quickly, we just talked about this on the show. Mania matches. You're going to get mad at the Southern Stone, but I didn't say the fans did.
Don't say Sting Taker.
Reigns against Rock. Yeah, Reigns against Rock.
Yes.
And you have either Undertaker, because you're talking about who's left to take the fight. Reigns against Rock next year in New York. And you have either Taker against Sting or Taker against Goldberg.
Taker. Yeah, well, perhaps. Taker Goldberg. If built up right, maybe, but where Shane McMahon is asking, Brandon is asking that Shane McMahon is he's recovering. I mean, he had a hernia surgery and he had a diverticulitis, so he's sitting home resting, man. Kudos for him for wrestling within that much pain. Peter's asking, when are you going to create a Patreon account so we can watch you watching 3 Man and a Baby? I don't watch 3 Man and a Baby, so I can build a Patreon account though. That'd be great for you all to contribute to the Pancakes and Powerslam show. DMAC is asking, do you think the venue is a minor factor in ticket sales? Is not as accessible for fans? It's in Uniondale, I believe. And the 5 boroughs is the other 2 major new. No, I don't think the venue's an issue. I think it's just a lack of promotion and just a lack of interest in the women's division, unfortunately. Jason Oscar said Oscar came out tonight. Yeah, she did for SmackDown. I'm a story type of guy. Almost anyone can put on a decent match. I look for stories. 100%, man. I agree with that very much. Will the Shield, Gress is asking, will the Shield bring out the golden shovels and bury the Raw roster? Perhaps. I think they should just come out and Patreon and Powerslams. I love it. GHP. Patreon and Powerslams. I love it. Let's see. I think I was at Raw actually. For GHP tweeted me. He saw the match. I took a picture. I was right in front of the Shield when I came down the ring. It was pretty cool. So yeah, that's pretty much it as far as the Evolution thing. All right, so what do y'all think of Ken Shamrock? He said in a recent interview that he wants to come back to win the world title. So, what do y'all think about that? I think that's I don't like to use the word impossible because with God all things are possible. But Ken Shamrock, I think this is as close to impossible as you possibly could get when it comes to Ken Shamrock winning the world title in WWE. Wistful thinking is an understatement. I definitely think that Ken Shamrock was an amazing mid-card talent in the mid-90s. I think he should have won the Intercontinental Championship. He did win the Intercontinental Championship. He was a very cool name during the Attitude Era, like 97, 98 time. I would even say Hall of Famer. I would even say put Ken Shamrock in Hall of Fame. Why not? World champion at 50, I don't know, 51, 52 years old. Someone in the chat, let me know, how old is Ken Shamrock? How old is Ken Shamrock? I would say I'd say 51. That's my guess. I'm gonna look right now of how old Ken Shamrock is. The Ken Shamrock is loading here. Let's see. Great wrestler, hard worker, but his world title days. Yeah, of course, his world title days are over. Absolutely. Ken Shamrock is 54. 54 years old, ladies and gentlemen. No, he's not going to win the world title. Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Speaking of, real quick, saying this on air. Speaking of caved-in chest, a picture of Buff Bagwell's left arm.
Oh wow, is it messed up now?
It looks real like it's a bicep. I'm gonna see the picture. It's a bicep. It looks like it's some kind of atrophy in it. thought Bag was always been a cool guy, former guy. I'm
know.
to you now.
Okay.
Yeah, Impact and HBC.
Brandon said Hogan was champ at 55 in WCW, but Hogan's Hogan though. He was champ that old at WCW. No, he wasn't champ at 55. He was champ at like 48, 40 something. 55, he was in WWE because he's 65 now, I believe. And that was, yeah, 03. That was 15 years ago. So he was still, because Hogan is what? Hogan's like 65, 66, something like that. Yeah, 65. So 55, that was 2008. So no, Hogan's wrestling, Hogan, 2006, he wrestled Orton at SummerSlam. Yeah, so Hogan wasn't even really, Hogan was in TNA, I think, in 2008, or close to it. 1998, he was 45. He was champ at that time. Favorite rivalries, Jose is asking. Gruss asking, let me address this first. Should Ken Shamrock win the WWE title after winning King of the Ring in 98? That was probably his closest time, was the King of the Ring in 98. Perhaps. I mean, I wouldn't have been too crazy if he would won at that time, because he was a pretty hot name at that time. Hogan's last world title was WWE when he beat Triple H, and then The Undertaker beat Hogan. Right? Was it that? So wait, yeah. So Hogan beat Triple H, and The Undertaker beat Hogan. That's when he went to Dead Man Taker, the biker taker. The You're Gonna Pay. You're Gonna Pay. That was what, 2003?
Yeah, 2003.
2003, I think it was. Yeah. Gross is saying 02. Was it 02? It might have been 02. No, yeah. Because it might have been. Yeah, it was. Well, I think it was 02 because you had Hogan, because that was Hogan Rock was 02. That was 18. And then you had Hogan beat Triple H for the title, and then Taker beat Hogan, and then Rock won the triple threat in the summertime. I think that was Vengeance. And then Brock beat Rock at SummerSlam, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken. That's how it went. Alexia, I did watch WrestleMania's Brian Pillman story. I loved her Beyond the Titantron, I think, videos. They've shown me some love, man. I gotta give them a shout out too, because they've put my show, they've used my show as a source of at least one of their videos. I don't know if they've done it for more, but yeah, they've done it for one. So all right, so let's see. How do you feel about the alarming similarities with regards to steroid use and death during the Attitude Era, man? Because here's the short answer of that. Thank God for policy, for drug testing policy, because I've known people. I've answered. I mean, I've interviewed people here from like the 70s, and like Jim Brunzell and Greg Gagne and superstar Bill Dundee and among other people, Bobby Fulton, and so it's like back then, yeah, right. There wasn't any type of drug testing. Cocaine was a very very popular drug at that time, and it's just it's the craziness of the business, man. Really, you travel all year round. I watched the 350 days thing. I had Evan Ginsberg on here a few weeks ago with Lanny Poffo, and man, you know, that was a really good film, and I've watched other documentaries and things like that. Wrestling is such a big high, but it's just you sacrifice so much, and then you're alone in a hotel room at 12 o'clock, and you know you missed your son's birthday, you missed your wife's anniversary, you know, your anniversary between you and your wife, and you're all alone at a hotel, and you know, back corner alley, you know, in in Montana somewhere, doing a show, you know, after doing a show, and you're all jacked up, your body's hurting like heck. It's tough, man. Billy Gunn's not 6'8". If someone's talking about Billy Gunn, Billy Gunn's about 6'5". I'm 6'1", and he was a few inches tall. I was standing right next to him when I interviewed him at WrestleMania. So he's about 6'5", let's say. AJ Styles versus Prime AJ Styles versus Prime Shawn Michaels, or Prime Daniel Bryan versus Prime Kurt Angle. Which one would I want? I would rather see. So yeah, that's a very good question, actually. I would rather see match-wise Bryan Angle, storyline-wise Styles Michaels, because Michaels. That's one good thing about Michaels, man. Michaels has been a storyline guy. I love that about Michaels. Real big storyline guy. Lost his smile. That's what we were talking about. That we were joking. we were joking about that when I was at Raw last night. That's hilarious. Gus is asking, ask Chris, should Razor Ramon had a run with WWE title in 95? Maybe not 95. Yeah, I say 95, 96. Yeah, because he was he was one of the top faces at that time. Yeah, instead of Diesel, because Diesel had it at that time. I think Razor should have had it too.
That's something we can talk about for 3 weeks.
Yeah, definitely.
Years of 93, 94, 95.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially 93, 95. Especially 93, 94.
Mm-hmm.
Many fans are old enough. Those are some dark years.
Oh, goodness.
It's like the wrestling timeline went up from whenever wrestling started, and then it stopped after 92.
Mm-hmm.
It skipped to Monday Night Wars.
Yep. Yeah. The dark days of professional wrestling.
93 to 95. 95 wasn't as bad. You know,
Nitro. Yeah. Yep.
Stuff, but just 93 and 94. Oh, man.
It was tough. Yep.
That really touched their love for wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Brandon's asking, which company had better storyline, Austin versus McMahon or WCW versus NWO? Austin versus McMahon, I would say. That was yeah, I would say that. All right. Mm-hmm.
What would you put if it was Austin versus McMahon versus Hogan versus Sting?
Still Austin versus McMahon. I was a big fan of Hogan versus Sting, but Austin versus McMahon is like that was one of, if not the angle that really turned the tides in the Monday Night Wars. Yeah. Exactly.
You know, how could you beat that? You know.
Mm-hmm. Gus is saying WCW versus NWO changed the industry. Yeah, I agree. WCW versus NWO is what put Nitro, on the map and what turned the tide for Nitro. But at the end of the day, WWE won. So always gotta factor that in. All right, so Kenny Omega, he was talking about he may be at the G1 Supercard. There's some rumors of him, Cody Rhodes, and Young Bucks perhaps going to WWE, or WWE wanting to acquire them to make sure that they're not on the Madison Square Garden card. I've said this before, man. I don't think Cody in WWE right now is a good deal. I don't think it's, I mean, if the money's right, I know that he's a family man. If the money's right, I understand. But NXT champion, I can see that. Main roster, I don't see him succeeding at all. I mean, I don't see him being a world champ at all. I'm pulling for him. I pulled for him when he. I was hoping that he would win the Money in the Bank, the one that Damian Sandow won. I think that still was a bad call. Cody was the man in that match, but they poorly. I mean, in the Stardust thing, and they poorly booked him, man. And I think right now he's really getting an opportunity to really showcase, his talent. So, I wish the best for him, and I'm pulling for him. And I don't think WWE's a good call for him. Now, Kenny Omega, on the other hand, I think Kenny Omega. I can see Kenny Omega being NXT champion and doing well on SmackDown, like a SmackDown, perhaps. I would love to see a Kenny Omega AJ Styles feud, perhaps, but I don't know if WWE will pull the reins on or give give the championship to Omega either. So I don't know.
Here's something I can speak on. Me being cool with Omega, being you talked off there, Stone, me being one of the very few people that's had Omega on his show, because Omega doesn't do many shows. He did my show, did Jericho. And with knowing of Cody, meeting the Young Bucks, and knowing people that's worked with them, the one thing that they love is freedom. The ability to do and be themselves without any blame. And from a business standpoint, Cody just booked in the Young Bucks, and all that help. Just booked successful, all in, pay-per-view. It had no help with WWE. Why would you, as this business 101, do that investment? You make a profit, and then you already preparing for All In 2. You already gave the team, because it's going to be an All In 2 next year. This time next year is going to be All In 2. Why would you even go to WWE? Why? Well, you can wrestle on Madison Square Garden, and you can use that to catapult promotions for All In 2.
Nope.
Doesn't make any sense. The freedom that they have with Cody and Brandy, and then Matthew and all of them with the kids. They love their kids. They don't have to travel as much. I mean, right now, they're very few. They're the remnants that can live a successful life in pro wrestling without the help of WWE.
Yeah.
And Omega, Jericho just attacked Omega. I mean, Omega could be some teasers. Omega doesn't know what he's doing. And Kenny Omega, as it is, I think maybe in a year or two after, like with AJ, after you ran your course in the indie scene, and you only have about a year or two left to go to WWE. The problem is it's small for WWE's world. I keep saying it, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
Omega is in that middle, like Jericho. Jericho wanted to be Jericho. His name is Jericho. But Omega, he's going to be caught in that purgatory of he's too big to be 205 Live, but he's too small to be WWE champ. So where do we have him? US title anyway.
Yeah, even Jericho though. Even Jericho is getting drowned in the talent pool of WWE. There's so much. Aggressive talking about this here in the chat. There's so much talent in the WWE. He says 100 times better than he left. Yeah, I mean, Cody would be drowned. I mean, even AJ Styles isn't, being booked correctly. Even he doesn't stand out as WWE champ. He's WWE champion, and he doesn't even stand out, on the roster. So Jericho, I mean, when he came back, and he hasn't stood out for a while, and that's the reason why he's doing what he's doing, man, which is great. I think it's a great deal with Jericho. He's even talking about potentially Impact. I mean, he would be a name. I mean, talk about Jericho, not even Impact. Jericho in the NWA. Just think about, I mean, if we throw on this NWA relaunch, Jericho would be a fantastic name to go to NWA for sure. and then from Jericho to say that he's been the NWA World Champion, Jericho and Cody feud, and for the NWA World Title, that would be fantastic.
Don't forget, Jericho is one of the few that can basically do what he wants.
Yep.
Jericho is, and Jericho is my top 5. Is Jericho can say he is the first undisputed champion. I know the story of DHP. You there, brother? I know Harley Race, you know, we know the history of the United unification title,
right?
In the 80s.
Unified title, yep.
But Jericho is the first recognized undisputed champion. I know he said it a lot storyline wise, but it's true. And that's one of the few times I would have lost the bet. So I swore up and down Jericho's not going to win. He wanted him to win. He defeated The Rock, defeated Austin.
Yep.
So the fact to be the first undisputed champion in history, and to also be to add the NWA Championship to your legacy,
yep.
Which is, and you know, I've had Conway on my show and Nick Aldis on my show too. And when they did your show too, we talked about how important and how much that means to be the NWA champion, how much lineage that holds. Even though WWE, that National Wrestling Alliance Championship, to be able to hold that title belt, to have your name on that list, means something.
Yep, absolutely. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's just grade Raw and SmackDown. What would you grade Raw? I was there at Raw. I think Raw was really fun as an experience. From top to bottom card, it was weird. the tandem of Gable and Roode is weird. Drake Maverick coming out and Drake Maverick coming out to manage the Authors of Pain. I'm good with that, but him wearing the gear is weird. So yeah, just a bunch of weirdness. Them announcing Finn Balor versus Baron Corbin again, weird. So yeah, very, very weird. All right, so what would you give Raw? But the Undertaker, I mean, people pop for HBK, but people pop for the Undertaker. So super duper pop for the Undertaker.
There are those that we know that say Raw was only really good because of All In. I will say Raw for the first time in eons was entertaining. Even wrote down some rules very quickly just to say Gable and Roode was hilarious. It seemed off the words. Why is Lashley on a mic? Why Owens attacking him? I thought was it shows how strong Owens is. Lashley's a big dude. I've talked to him this year and talked to him a few times in different shows. Dolph and Jewish tag champs. I thought that was a good match. To see them winning the titles makes sense. Braun beating up Finn was weird. Finn against Corgan. Who cares about the Bellas? I don't. The segment with Elias was funny. It's funny how the roster they broke up the Shield, Braun and Dolph, and Braun and BDD, I call them. But yeah, at the end you had an NWO ending where the same people beat up the Shield.
Yeah.
So I thought it was kind of funny. The old ending. Chicken Michaels. Chicken. He doesn't show up at all for Cena, and then shows up at Mania. And then he decides to show up to Michaels and don't respond to Triple H. It's like, what is Taker? We call him, he summoned a ghost. He's like a ghost. She summoned him. Taker. And this is something, shout out to my staff member, after said, it makes sense. He talking about Taker coming back. Like John Wick 2, never watched it. Taker went down, air quotes. Taker keeps getting summoned back. He keeps calling him back, and he keeps coming, beating tails and going.
Yeah.
So, I kind of like big rulers real quick. But Michael, you know, I turned down millions of dollars, which is true. Because I know some promoters that tried to reach out to Michael. I turned down millions of dollars. And for taking to say, is it because of fear? I'll put you down. I'm gonna put your buddy down too. I kind of liked it, even though it was kind of simple.
Yeah, I liked it too. Yeah. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Just real quick, I don't think so. I think that he'll probably cost Taker the match, and then that'll set up probably a Mania match between them. All right, so we got to roll. So we got to get to the flavor of the week. Let me get this Lexi question here. Some of your colleagues on Wrestling Inc. have alluded to selective drug policies in current WWE and pointing out certain physiques as proof. Gender, how do you feel? I think that I don't. It would be a surprise to me if the drug policy was the same across the board. I know that part-timers don't have to adhere to the same diligent policy. What if Gable and Roode went heel and created a faction with the Revival? That wouldn't last. That would be like the Social Outcasts. What B plus? What if ALP joined the Shield? Nah, that wouldn't last either. Who won the IC tournament? We're about to get to that now. Jump tube. All right. So I would give it. I'll give it a B minus. I think it was fun. I mean, the crowd was awesome, and I think Taker and Michael's segment, and then a Shield. I like how it was built throughout the show. The Shield in the beginning. I mean, Braun Strowman and McIntyre and Ziggler in the beginning, weave throughout the show. That's how the attitude era was. Just this, it was weaved throughout the entire show. So I do appreciate that. All right, SmackDown, real quick grades. Let's do grades for SmackDown. SmackDown was a bit off to me. Good to see Asuka back. I love R-Truth. R-Truth is so hilarious. Thinking Maurice is Carmella. What do you see in him? I mean, he's hilarious, man. The dude is absolutely hilarious. All right, so here is the picture that Evan sent me here. I don't know if y'all can see this. That's the picture of Buff Bagwell that he sent me there. You'll see that. He was talking about the picture, the bicep. So yeah, it does look like that was the deformity there. Except for the $8 sodas. Yes, you're right. Yeah. All right.
Not like that last year.
No, it wasn't. Yeah.
I don't know. I could always dig out. I'll reach out to some people this week. I'm sure you probably would see fellas on to try to figure out what happened with his arm.
Yeah. Someone said, "What's Drew McIntyre would use the remix of Broken Dreams theme?" I do not agree with that. I think Drew McIntyre's theme song is amazing right now. It's actually one of the top WWE theme songs right now. Period. Because he was Buff Bagwell, Gruss. That's why I showed it. It was from my tablet, and it was Buff Bagwell. Yeah. All right. I give SmackDown Brian West almost was good. R-Truth was it was hilarious. C, solid C. Yep. All right. Let's get into the flavor of the week, ladies and gentlemen. Without further ado, let's get this going.
It is now time for the flavor of the week.
Okay. Like I said, since last week we got through the first round. This is the second round there. You see it right there. All right, so let's get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. The first match is Razor Ramon against the British Bulldog. Razor Ramon, British Bulldog. What y'all got? Razor Ramon, British Bulldog. All right. Looks like Razor Ramon. Oh, Razor's advanced, ladies and gentlemen, to the semifinals. It's getting heated in here. All right. Next we have, so Razor Ramon. Great job. Congratulations to Razor Ramon. Next we have Mr. Perfect. Kurt Hennig. See if I can find his thing here. Here we go. Mr. Perfect. Against Mark Marrow. Mr. Perfect versus Mark Marrow. Mr. Perfect versus Mark Marrow. Yeah, I was expecting that answer from the chat, and yeah, it looks like it. Oh, one person said Mark Marrow. That's surprising. I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, all right. See, someone said Johnny Be Bad. That don't even count. So yeah, you're disqualified. Who said that? Okay, Mr. Perfect. All right, next we have Owen Hart, D'Lo Brown. Owen Hart versus D'Lo Brown. Let's see. What do I think of KO's premature return? Okay, someone's asking me a question on Facebook right now. Let's see. I think it was premature. It made no sense. That's my answer, especially jumping right into Lashley. So yeah, we got Owen Hart. We got some D-Los. Interestingly, some D-Los. You're messing with the real deal now. I told you about my D-Lo high school thing. That was pretty fun. Wow. So okay, so I see more Owens than D-Los. I was surprised to get as many D-Los I see right now, but Owen. So Mr. Perfect versus Owen Hart, and then Razor Ramon versus here's the other two. Goldust versus China. Goldust versus China.
One of my friends listened to the show, Christopher D'Lo Brown sent the gift of the nation coming out, the old USA, and it was a white fan that was standing up doing the Nation of Domination.
Oh goodness. Wow. It's like Crush. It's like when Crush was in the Nation. That doesn't make sense at all. China, Goldust. China, Goldust. Okay, so we had some Chinas at first, but Goldie. Oh, Razor and Goldust. 1995 all over again, ladies and gentlemen. Wowzers. Going back to 95 all over again with Razor and Goldust. That's exciting. All right. The final four, ladies and gentlemen. The final four. That is awesome stuff. See that? Mr. Perfect, Owen, Razor Ramon, and Goldust. All right, so let's get it. We got Goldust versus Razor Ramon. Goldust versus Razor Ramon. Will Razor Ramon get his retribution from Goldust from back in the day? Looks like it. It looks like it, ladies and gentlemen. Razor Ramon, say hello to the bad guy. Razor Ramon. All right, the next one is Mr. Perfect. Mr. Perfect versus Owen Hart. This is a really good Final Four, guys. You guys did a fantastic job with this. Mr. Perfect versus Owen Hart. Mr. Perfect versus Owen Hart. Oh wow. Looks like we got more Owens than Perfect. Really? Wow. That is a bit of a surprise. I would call that an upset. I would call that an upset. All right. So Owen Hart gets it. Wow, that's pretty cool. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. We got the finals going on with the championship. The championship finals, ladies and gentlemen. Razor Ramon versus Owen Hart. Who is the greatest? Jump Tube, you all voted for him. This is all fans' choice. Every single one of these people was the never won the world championship and won the Intercontinental Championship in the 1990s. All voted for these people. Every single one of them to be the way they are. Unanimous votes. The final two is Owen Hart versus Razor Ramon. And who wins? Who wins? Who wins? Owen Hart versus Razor Ramon. Owen Hart versus Razor Ramon. Razor. Owen. Y'all got. This is the finals. This is the finals. Owen Hart, Razor Ramon. Who you got? Who you got? Okay. I'm gonna look at him for a little bit and see what we get. See what we get. Yeah, right now it's neck and neck, guys. It's neck and neck, ladies and gentlemen. This is really cool, guys. It is really neck and neck. I don't see anybody. I don't see neither Owen or Razor going away. All right, so right now I see one. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Owen. And I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, are you really? Is this serious? Are we doing? Is it really 8 to 7? Other people saying perfect, which he's not in. You guys voted him out. Looks like 8 to 7. You can't vote twice. Yes, absolutely. That's correct, Rob. You can't vote twice. Then people saying disqualification and count out and stuff like that. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I think you guys, I think by a hair. You have picked the winner, ladies and gentlemen. Dusty finish. Owen Hart. Owen Hart is the best Intercontinental Champion in the 90s that never won. People saying a recount. Rob saying the Owen people voted twice. People want a rematch, but Owen wins. Owen Hart wins. Congratulations to Owen Hart, man. That's awesome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been great. He is not a nugget. That's right, DX. He is not a nugget. Congratulations to Owen Hart. Next week, give me a list to do. Tweet at Chris Prolific. Tweet at Chris Prolific. Give me another tournament. I'm thinking 90s. I'm thinking 90s United States champions that never won the WCW Championship. I'm thinking that. But ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. On behalf of Evan Tech Proud, thanks to Sean Navarre, thanks to Marty Elias. You guys are the best fans in the world, as always. As always. It's been a pleasure, as always, ladies and gentlemen. Until next week, enjoy your week of wrestling. God bless. And always remember, I'll do it for you. Have a good night, ladies and gentlemen. God bless. Bye-bye.